Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Daria if you're new here, and in today's yoga practice, we'll be working on building back body strength. This class is a great foundational practice to build back bends that are really supported and strong and feeling energized, expansive rather than crunchy or tight or painful in the low back. So for this class, all that you'll need is yourself and someplace to move. And whenever you're ready, let's get into it. We'll get started today lying down flat on our backs. So spin to face the top of your mat, root your feet, reach forward with your fingertips and take a slow roll all the way down, rolling one vertebra at a time. So low back comes down, then the middle back, then the back of your heart and the back of the head come down. Draw your feet in so that the ankles are stacked right under your knees, maybe close enough so you can tickle the heels with the fingertips. Begin to press down into all four corners of your feet, and we'll start to press the pelvis up to the sky. Take an inhale at the top in your glute bridge, and then release back down. Inhale to lift the hips high, glute bridge. Exhale and lower. So you can start this nice and slow, massaging through the back as you lift and roll one vertebra up at a time. Find the engagement in the glutes and the hamstrings at the top, and then release and find your way back down. And let's gradually begin to quicken the pace. Magnetize your inner thighs toward each other as if there's a block between them that you could squeeze. Press your hip bones high to the sky, and every time you rise, challenge yourself to engage through the back line of your body, squeezing the glutes just a bit more. Feel as though you could press your sitting bones down towards your knees. Keep driving your heels energetically into the earth, and let the shoulders and the back of the head support. So really anchored through those spaces. We'll just take 3 more here. Begin to deepen your breath also. Feel the breath motivating the movement. Good. Glute bridge high to the sky, and we'll pause here. Let's just bring in some little pulses. You can tuck your shoulders slightly underneath you, and then we'll just squeeze tiny, subtle movements, lifting the hips high toward the sky, activating the glutes. Just for 10, for 9, 8, 7, you got it. 6, 5, 4, just 3, for 2, for 1, squeeze and hold, lift higher, and release. Roll everything down, relax your full back to the mat, the sacrum lands. Good, draw your knees in, and let's just roll the knees into some circular motion here. So widen the knees out, and then draw them back together a couple times like this. And then take your circles the other way. Smooth the breath, full inhales and deep sustained exhales. Good. Grab for behind your hamstrings, and we'll rock and roll the length of the spine, rolling up to a seat and then back down. Just take 3 rolls here. Nice and creaky floor today. And then go ahead and find your way to the top of the mat. Cross your ankles. We'll plant the palms down, and we'll make our way to tabletop. So the shoulders are over the wrists, the hips are over the knees. Nice and easy cat-cows. Inhale, drop the low belly, lift the tailbone. And then feel as the low back activates. Then feel your middle back activate. Then press your hands back toward your thighs to activate the upper back, and lift your gaze to activate the back of the neck. As you exhale, round and curl. Activate low belly. Then pull in at your ribs. Press the back of your heart up toward the sky and drop your head. Inhale again, super slow. Articulate through the spine. Feel the tailbone lift. Create the curves, and then lift your heart and lift your gaze. As you exhale, press down, draw in at your inner thighs, hollow the belly, and drop the head. Back of the neck is long. 2 more times. Inhale for cow. Exhale, cat. Let your breath stretch out as long as the movement lasts. Inhale. And exhale. Pause and find a neutral tabletop. We'll isolate now just the thoracic spine. So it's the middle part of the back with some lateral rib cage circles. So take your right ribs and stick them out toward the right side of the mat, finding contraction into the left side body. Then as you exhale, press the back of your heart up toward the sky. Try not to change or move anything else about your body. Then the ribs glide to the left, right side body contracts, and then you can soften the back of your heart down toward the earth, almost like a hammocking effect in the heart. One more time in this direction. Right ribs to the right side, left side body contracts. As you exhale, drive down into your palms to puff the back of your heart to the sky, and then left ribs to the left side of the mat. Breathe between them, stretch the intercostals, and then you can soften the ribs down toward the earth. Let's reverse to the left, these thoracic spine circles. Left ribs to the left. Lift the rib cage up high to the sky, close in through the ribs. Then ribs to the right. And as you exhale, release it down toward the earth. One more round, big circle. Good. Begin to tuck your toes behind you now that the spine is a little bit awake and alive. We'll press our way back to downward facing dog. Root your palms. Let the hands and the feet anchor down as the tailbone lifts high to the sky. Now here, prioritize length in the low back and through the full spine. If that means you need to bend your knees, micro bent or even more bent, go ahead and do so. The heels can float. They don't need to press down firmly to the mat, especially not right away in the first downward facing dog of your practice. Another option is to widen the feet slightly, especially in the first down dog, so you can really feel the action of elongation in the spine. Now take a couple of directed breaths here. A big inhale to flood your back body with this new and bright air. And a big exhale, spread it back down your spine, down your legs, creating more space, combing away knots and tension. One more breath here. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, press your palms down and forward and stretch your heart toward your thighs. As you inhale, lift your heels, hollow your core, round forward to high plank, suctioning front body toward back body. As you exhale, shift forward, bend your elbows, lower all the way down to your belly so the pelvis can melt, and then the heart, and then the chin. Untuck your toes, press into the tops of your feet and all 10 toenails. As you inhale, let your hips get heavy so your pubic bone can press into the mat. Then begin to float your hands and your heart away from the mat. We'll pause and breathe for a few rounds here. Feel the engagement in your thighs. Feel your shoulder blades squeeze together behind you. Really try to feel like the back line of your body is expanding, lengthening forward, and then curling up so the heart can lift. Take one more inhale. As you exhale, release back down, plant the palms. Again, inhale, heavy hips, heart floats, hands float. Couple of breaths here. Feel as though your wrists are being tugged backward, and with an equal and opposite force, your heart's being pulled forward. One more breath. Good. Exhale, release, and lower back down. And just one more time here in baby cobra. Tops of the feet down, claw the mat with your toenails. Pubic bone presses down. As you inhale, activate the glutes. Similar action here as we found in the bridge. It's as if the sitting bones are stretching back towards your heels. We're creating so much length in the front and back lines of the body, and then we're lifting up higher. Exhale, softly release back down. Good. Plant your palms beneath your shoulders, tuck your toes, and then glide your hips back towards your heels, creating an arc in the spine, stretching your heart to the top of the mat and staying active into the arms and the hands. Inhale, round forward, hands and knees, claw down. Exhale, glide back to downward facing dog. Press into your palms, lift the hips up and back. Take an inhale through your nose. Exhale through your nose. As you inhale, lift your heels, round forward, high plank. As you exhale, bend your elbows, lower down halfway, chaturanga. Then sink your pelvis, your heart, and your chin to the mat. Untuck your toes. This time, interlace your fingers at the base of your spine. Press the tops of your feet down, and as you inhale, we'll rise the heart. Reach your knuckles toward the back of your space. Drive the hips down into the earth, and lift your heart. Breathe into the back body. One more inhalation. Exhale, release down, undo your fingertips. You can bring the tops of the hands down to the mat and just rest one cheek to the mat. Take a moment here. Drop everything. And bring your chin back to face forward. Tops of the feet dig down, fingers interlace at the base of your spine. See if you can get the heels of your hands to connect. Keep a micro bend in the elbows. Then as you inhale, feel a swell as you stretch your heart forward. Reach your knuckles toward the back. Can you draw your shoulder blades together more? And then press your heart forward by squeezing the back of your heart. Inhale. Exhale, release. Tops of hands down. Bring your other cheek to the mat and take a little rest here. Good. Realign so your chin comes forward. Interlace the hands to the base of the spine. The heels of the hands are together, elbows are micro bent. As you inhale, press the tops of the feet down, lift your heart, lift your hands, reach back and forward equally. Now you can stay or begin to float the tops of your feet and maybe the tops of your thighs away from the earth. Magnetize your inner thighs toward the midline. Feel a lifting up from your pelvic floor through your heart, shining the heart forward like a spotlight. One more breath, lift 1 inch higher. Exhale, release, and melt everything down. Good. Plant your palms, tuck your toes behind you, press yourself back to active child's pose. Reach the hips toward the heels, reach the heart toward the top of the mat. Then, once all of your breath has left the lungs, inhale and round forward through your hands and your knees. Exhale, we'll press back to downward facing dog. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your nose. As you inhale, lift your heels, hollow the core, round forward, high plank. Exhale, chaturanga, lower down, then the pelvis, the heart, and the chin come down. Untuck your toes. This time, fingertips can step out to the wide edges of your mat. Dig down into the tops of your feet. As you inhale, we'll rise up to cobra. Fingers are like tents. Then the shoulder blades slide down your back and pull together. If you feel crunching in your low back, you can just gently release it down a bit. Bend into the elbows more until you can feel the thoracic spine, the middle back, and the upper back really actively supporting you here. One more inhale. Exhale, lower it back down. Melt your belly, your heart, and your chin to the earth. 2 more rounds, rolling cobra. Inhale, suction belly to spine. Rise up, then the shoulder blades fall down. Biceps spin forward, triceps wrap back. Lift, elongate, exhale, and release. One more round. Inhale, dig into fingers and tops of feet. Pubic bone rises towards your sternum. The pelvic floor is super lifted. Inhale. Exhale, release back down. Beautiful. Plant your palms, tuck your toes, and begin to press your way back. The hips come toward the heels. Claw down into the fingertips. Inhale, round your spine. How puffy can you get into the back of your heart? Exhale, downward facing dog, glide back. Inhale and gaze to the top of your mat. Now as you exhale, we'll softly step the feet forward, drawing the toes behind the wrists. Then folding from the hip crease rather than from the low back, we'll take a couple of breaths in ragdoll. I like to interlace my hands to the back of my head, especially when working with spinal length. This really helps me feel the full drop waterfall effect through the spine, but feel free to take any arm variation that feels good for you today. And let's sway side to side, letting the spine be liquid, free, super released, and super heavy, surrendering down. Drop your fingertips back to the earth. Take an inhale to find a halfway lift. Stretch and elongate, create more space between all of your vertebrae. Then as you exhale, bow chest to thighs. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. The feet can stay hips distance apart. Weight your heels, bend your knees deeply. Then sweep your fingertips up toward the sky, biceps beside your ears. Shoulder blades draw down your back. Now see how low you can sink into your chair while keeping the belly hugging the spine, and try to lift up through your low back. Inhale. As you exhale, bow chest to thighs, but keep length in the spine. So it's like you're just flattening your back over the thighs here. Inhale, arms reach up, sink deep. Exhale, sink even deeper. Fingertips reach back, heart stretches to the top of your mat. Just one more time like this. Inhale, reach for the sky, weight your heels, toes are bright. Exhale, sink, heart to thighs, fingertips back. As you inhale, we'll press down into the feet and rise all the way up to stand. You can ripple through the spine, draw your palms to touch and lift your gaze. As you exhale, circle the fingertips out wide. We're gonna bring the hands to the low back. The fingertips can either face down or face up, wherever you feel like you're most able to connect the shoulder blades together behind you. And keep a softness through the knees. Begin to lift up your pelvic floor. So if you spread your toes super wide and lift them, this can help with this action of pulling up through the full body. Your legs are like tree trunks and you're sucking up energy from the earth. Then from here, once you've elongated all the way through your spine, through the crown of your head and beyond, just begin to tip slightly back, lifting your heart toward the sky. Press your hands to your sacrum and then press your sacrum back into your hands. Super supported back bend. So this can be very subtle. If you'd like to go in a little bit deeper, if you're still able to feel the length through your full front body, you can begin to glide into your depth. Activate the glutes, press the hips forward. And then begin to rise back up, coming in or coming out just the way you came in. The head's the last thing to lift. Let's circle the fingertips out, up overhead, inhale. Exhale, we'll dive it down nice and easy, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale to halfway lift. As you exhale, plant your palms, step the feet back, high plank. Shift forward, lowered chaturanga. Sink your pelvis, your heart, and your chin to the earth. And we'll play with floor bow here. So hopefully by now the back body is feeling active, warm, fiery. Begin by drawing your hands down beside you. So the palms of the hands can face toward the sky and the chin can root. Curl your heels in towards your sitting bones. And then let your pelvis get heavy so the pubic bone lands. As you inhale, we're gonna lift the heart and lift the hands. And you can stay right here, or you can reach for your ankles, grabbing them from the outsides. Once you make contact, take an inhale. On an exhale, kick your shins toward the back of your mat. And it's like a slingshotting action. Your heart's pressing forward and your shins are pressing back. You can stay with the tops of the thighs down to the mat, or you can begin to float them away and point your toes up toward the sky. And there's a little bit of a rocking horse effect that can happen here when you're kicking really deeply. So pressing your feet into your hands And then lift your heart higher and higher and higher. As you exhale, you can release everything down. Bring your hands forward, rest your head to the hands. Draw your heels in and windshield wiper your knees from side to side. Gently release. Release your feet down behind you. We'll take a shoulder stretch. Left hand plants under the left shoulder. Right arm extends out long to the side, and we'll roll to the right side of the body, stepping the left toes off the mat behind you. You can drop your head. Try to let everything go. Allow the breath to comb through the front of the right shoulder, clearing the cobwebs, clearing the tension. If you'd like a little more intensity here, you can play with stepping the right foot down flat to the mat as well, drawing the knee toward the sky, and then adjust as needed. Release and roll back through the middle, dropping your belly to the earth. And we'll switch. Right palm plants under the right shoulder. The left arm extends. Roll to the outer edge of the body on the left side. Roll to the left side of the body. Right toes can step back behind you. If this is a lot, it's okay to stack the feet too, and that might lessen the intensity. And allow this side to be its own thing. Often the sensation will differ from one side to the next, especially in places like the shoulders or the hips. Maybe step the left foot flat and then readjust your spine. Can you soften the face, soften the jaw, the teeth, even the eyelids? Good. Roll it back through center. Plant your palms beneath your shoulders, tuck your toes, we'll press through hands and knees, and then we'll come up to standing on our knees. And we'll play with Ustrasana, Camel. Now, for the purposes of this practice, this does not need to be your deepest depth or your most bent back camel. It's more so for today meant just to build the back body strength and create the feeling of the lifting action. So, tuck the toes behind you. Imagine that there's a block between your inner thighs that you could really squeeze into, creating that resistance, that pulling in. And then feel the lift up through your pelvic floor, all the way through your spine and your heart, into the crown of your head. And then take your hands up overhead. We'll bring the palms together at the base of the skull. Inhale, press your head into your hands. As you exhale, just stay. Again, inhale, draw in at the waist, lift and lengthen. On your exhale now, begin maybe just to drop your gaze back, supporting the head with the hands. Inhale, exhale. Can you bend back a bit further without crunching the low back? If you need at any time, take the hands to the low back, more traditional camel. If the hands are on the low back, you can press the pelvis forward. Try to squeeze the back of your heart with the shoulder blades. And then imagine that your rib cage is lifting away from your pelvis, really drawing in at the waist, elongating the side waists. Inhale. Last exhale here. And then begin to rise up, one vertebra at a time. Let the head be the last thing to rise, and then sink your hips down to your heels. Allow the palms to face up on your thighs. Close your eyes and drop. Back bends can bring up quite a bit of sensation. Even a back bend that doesn't necessarily feel incredibly extreme or look extreme externally, it doesn't matter what it looks like. So breathe into whatever is arising for you now. Maybe it's a new energy. Backbends can be quite energizing, or sometimes they can cause us to feel dizzy or nauseous. So have some grace here and allow yourself a moment to just settle. Blink your eyes open. Come to a seat and then swing your feet around to the top of the mat. Root the heels, flex the toes, wiggle so that you're sitting right onto your sitting bones evenly into each side. As you inhale, stretch your fingertips up toward the sky, and then exhale, Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. Reach for what's accessible. Maybe it's your thighs, maybe the shins, fingertips can be to the earth, or if you'd like, you can reach for the feet. It's okay to slightly round the spine here, especially after all of those back bends. It might feel like a nice release into the low back. Flex all 10 of your toes really actively. Remove any tension from your face or your hands and place it into your feet instead. Direct it to the space that is activated rather than spaces that can relax. Begin to rise back up, crawl your fingertips in, root your feet at the top of the mat, and we'll come down to lie on our backs once more. Super slow rolling down the spine. Let this feel like a nice massage for your back and just a little bit of core activation. Widen your arms to a cactus or a T shape. You can draw the heels in and we'll windshield wiper the knees side to side, gentle release. And then draw yourself into a hug. Forearms wrap around the shins. Take a big inhale here. And an exhale to find Savasana. Expand, lengthen, drop. Feel all the warmth from the back line of your body, all this heat that you've cultivated. And then allow that warmth to melt the surface underneath you so it gets softer. And it's as if you could soak right down into the earth. Let your body absorb all these effects in your Shavasana, taking rest now. Stay here and continue to drop, continue to melt if you have time. Otherwise, if you're ready to move back into your day, begin to deepen your breath. Feel the breath rise, your low belly, and then up to your heart, and then exhale back down that same channel. Gently wiggle the fingers and the toes. And then find your way up to a seat, however you'd like to get there. If you'd like to come through a long body stretch or a fetal pose or both, go ahead and do so. Or maybe you just gently rise up to a seat, whatever feels good. And the eyes can stay closed or create a soft eye gaze. In your seat, and now allow your knees to widen, allow your sitting bones to settle, and allow your spine to lengthen. Feel your collarbones broaden and feel your heart space glowing. And when we are able to activate the back line of the body, we can expand the front line of the body, feeling the duality between the contraction and the expansion. Draw your palms to meet in front of your heart. Take a big inhalation. On the exhale, just bow your chin toward your chest. Seal your practice. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. This is a great class to come back to regularly, especially if back bends are something that you're working on in your yoga practice right now. If you're not already, you can subscribe to my channel down below before you go. That really supports me, and you can join this yoga community here on YouTube. I hope you're doing well, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day or your night. I'll see you soon. Bye.